Hello and welcome to the first of 5 sessions of iHunt, 5 Stars or Death. iHunt is the game of monster hunting in the gig economy. Essentially, our characters are put upon on multiple fronts, and they've essentially been forced into the economy of Uber for monster hunting. This is a game that uses the Fate system. It uses Fate Core with its own modifications to the skills and so on. The big hardcover looks like this. It's really nice. It is a striking game. Sometimes when I read rule books, I'm not as fond of game fiction. These books have been a delight to read. Like reading this and reading the supplementary materials has been great. My name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and I will be game mastering today. This session is part of the Gauntlet Gaming Calendar, which is an online gaming community. You can find out more about that at gauntlet-rpg.com. We have a Gauntlet Community Open Gaming Weekend coming up the end of June. It's sort of our quarterly, thirdly event that we do to help onboard new players. It's free. Again, go to the Gauntlet website. You can find out more about that if you're interested. So to start this out, I'm going to walk through what we call CATS, which is a system of kind of laying out what we're going to be doing in the game so everybody is kind of on the same page. And it kind of wraps up in our discussion of our safety tools for play. So the first thing is the concept. Our players are poverty line young people, and that can be like late teens, 20-somethings, 30-somethings, people who are marginalized in various ways, certainly economically disadvantaged, and they are forced to take on gig jobs on this iHunt app, which is a good way to fight the supernatural creatures in the world. A lot of people don't believe in these things. They laugh about the iHunt app, but it goes on. It is a gig app like any other app in that it takes advantage of you. It will give you a set price, but it's the clients can easily like say I wasn't quite as satisfied and pay you 25% less. Or, they can cut your rates if they give you 2 or 3 stars. It is a system that helps you make ends meet, but it is also a system that exploits your labor. So in the game, we have characters who are trying to stay afloat. They're dealing with their own issues, with their day jobs, with all of the problems that face them from whatever aspect of society that they're embedded in. And at the same time, we're also fighting against monsters. Of course, the real monster is capitalism, but the monsters that you're actually going to be able to put a stake in are monsters. And clients come and give you cases to work from. Our city is San Gennaro, which is a city in California. That's the campaign city. We're sticking with that. It is a crossroads. Last time we did all monsters from Filipino mythology. This would probably be a little bit broader mythos today. Your characters are going to have a meet cute at the start, and there may be fighting of monsters, there may be kissing of monsters, depending on how things roll out there. That is the basics. Our approach: we set our characters up. We offer a job or two. You go and kind of look at what the job is as a group. You go and talk to the client, and then you figure out how to do it as cheaply as possible. Like you want to do as little research as possible, just enough to be able to do it. You want to be able to do it without having to buy extra equipment or pay for information or anything like that. And you want to do it in such a way that the cops don't come down on you. You do the job, and then we also do scenes of you dealing with the other shit in your life. So that's part of the sort of cycle of play. Our tone is kind of a, a desperate, funny, angry, cynical, a little bit wicked. This is not grimdark. It is definitely late YA. It's maybe like CW if it were on a paid for cable channel, I think is probably the best way to put that. Now, with all of those things in mind, all of those issues and things that we're going to be hitting on, we are going to be using a set of layered safety tools. I know everyone here is familiar with those, but I want to walk through what we're using as our suite. At the base level, we are using lines and veils. Now, I do want to mention that iHunt has a pretty sophisticated set of safety tools that are based on certain consent and BDSM things and so on, that are actually filled out individually and then given to the GM. We're using the safety tools, the lines and veils that I've used more, that I'm more comfortable with here on the Gauntlet. So just note that if you're watching at home, there's an even more elaborate and well-developed and robust set of tools in the game itself. So we have with lines and veils, we have essentially hard line, which is our line. These are things that are not going to appear in the game. Off screen, okay, or fade to black. That's our veils there in that mid column. And then if there's something that you want us to check in with first, then go ahead and mark that. That is on the safety tab. Feel free to add things that aren't listed there if you wish. I'm going to continue on. This is a living document, so feel free to mark and note things on there as you see fit throughout this. But that's our sort of baseline. When we get to character creation, I'll come back and we'll look at what we've made decision-wise about those safety tools. The next thing is, of course, the X card. The X card can be done with just a verbal saying, I want to X card this, or if you want to do the safety gesture. If you do it in chat, it's sometimes a little bit harder for me to spot. There are safety tools available in the dice roller that we're going to be using. You can use those as well. Basically, the X card, if we start to approach anything on lines and veils and you're like, okay, I don't think we're swerving like we need to be, if we need to move away from that, or if we hit new material that you're uncomfortable with, if we hit something that you find objectionable, that you find someone's approach to something objectionable, that you find something problematic, something hits a phobia, these are all reasons to use the X card. If you find that something is wildly off tone from what we've established, that's another reason to use the X card. I know you're all familiar with this. I'll say one last thing about that. If something goes past you a couple of times and the first couple of times you're like, I'm okay with that, I'm okay with that, but then it starts to bother you, it is absolutely legit to X card it at that point. Nothing has gone by and you've signed no contract on things. You can always X card something if you find that it's an issue. The last thing is the open door policy. That means that we can step away if we need to catch our breath for whatever reason. If it's illness, if it's a bleed, something like that, can step away. You don't have to explain yourself. If you're going to mark that maybe you'll be back, that'd be great, but you're not obliged to do that. That just want you to know that we're all cool with that. Like I will say, last Wednesday I had to open door and I was running. I was not feeling well. I got through the first hour and I was like, I don't think I can do the other 2 hours of this. So it happens, and it's a useful tool. So those are all the safety, all of those things that you need to know about. I want to briefly talk about fate, how it plays, what are the key issues in it, and how it differs from PBTA and some of the other kinds of games that we play. So Fate is a skill-based game. You're going to be writing in skills. These skills have a broad area that they handle, and you're going to be taking whatever number is associated with that. Like if you take a skill at +3, you're going to be rolling the 4 Fate dice with that +3. The Fate dice have pluses, minuses, and blanks. You're going to add that up, and it's essentially going to go from -4 to +4, and it's going to bell curve towards that 0. You will find that the Fate dice are incredibly unkind. You're like, no, this should be fine. And then you'll discover that, in fact, no, it is not fine. But the game provides ways to up that after you've made that roll. You will have fate points, which you can spend. You can spend a fate point to re-roll the dice after you've made a roll, and essentially pick everything up and re-roll them all. Or you can just spend it and give yourself a +2. So you want to look at it more often. The +2 is going to be the big benefit unless you've rolled really badly. So you want to keep that in mind. When you do that, you're going to actually be using what we call invoking an aspect. So we're going to look at an aspect that your character has, or an aspect that's in the environment, something like that, to show how you're using that to push yourself up, to boost yourself up. You can spend as many fate points on a roll as you want. You can keep going. You can burn through those resources. Those are the tools that you have at your disposal. As opposed to PBTA, where we have, our 10 plus, our 7 and 9, our 6 minus, and we've kind of got those states. And then usually we have to look to another player to help us out. Here, our choice is really in our hands, whether we want to spend those resources, whether we want to use invokes, or whether we want to kind of take the hit. This is a game about doing those resource spends. One of the things is that sometimes there will be aspects, as I mentioned, in the environment that will be out there that will have invokes on them, meaning that you can use them without paying a fate point. Usually they'll have 1 or 2 invokes for free. You use those up. The aspect is usually still around, but you can spend those to boost yourself up. Which leads us to the actions that you can do. Like PBTA, you tell us what you're going to do, and then we'll figure out what it falls into. There are 4 basic actions. The most sort of common one is overcome. If you want to overcome a static obstacle, if you want to leap across a ledge, if you want to push something over, if you want to go and find something out, overcome is our basic action. The next 2 actions are our combat actions, that is attack and defend. So they're the basics, and essentially we compare rolls, and the number that you win by is the amount of damage that the other side has to absorb, has to spend stress or consequences to take care of. The last action is create advantage. When you do a create advantage action, you will actually change the environment. And that advantage can be as abstract as, giving a cheer, or it can be as concrete as sweeping the leg. It's up to you how you want to do that. When you roll, you will either get 1 or 2 invokes that will be out there that you can use them, or other players can use them. They're free invokes. So the way that you manage to deal with significantly superior foes is planning, building up aspects, and taking them down that way. If you succeed on something by 3 or more, that's called success with style. When you create advantage and succeed with style, you get 2 invokes rather than 1. If you defend in a combat and win by 3 or more, then you actually get to take something that's called the edge. This is an extra mechanic from iHunt. The edge means that you get to sub out one of your fate dice for a d6. You get to, and you choose you want to do it, and then it gets spent. The edge is still on your side, but you can only do it once for free. After that, you'd have to spend fate points to do it again. Monsters almost always start having the edge. You have to figure out how to take it away from them. You can do that either by defending with style, which is kind of a reactive way to do it, but you can also try to do an overcome action against their difficulty to take the edge away from them. That's all the basic stuff you need to know, except this. The way I handle questions is I usually handle them a little bit like PBTA. Depending on how you roll, I will let you ask questions like we do in PBTA, the kind of open-ended. There's not a great specifically defined mechanic in Fate for that, but that's the way that I approach it. All right. So I have talked for a bit. Now I'm going to take a slug of this delicious Coke Zero.
Add something. When you go to choose your skills, pay attention to which skills can be used for attack and which cannot, because it's pretty much just two things can be used for direct attack. So if you see yourself ever taking a swing at something, you're going to want to fit that in at least at one point.
That is a really good point that is in there. I have the skills and stunts tab on here. It has a list of all the skills, and it tells you what the skill is like. And then it tells you how it's used for the four kinds of actions.
That's but underneath the section.
It's way down. You got to scroll way down. So I apologize for that. I probably should have broken that into two tabs, and I will in the future. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk through the character creation process. Going to do that kind of quick walkthrough. Before I get too much further, I want to mention the kinks tab. The kinks are in iHunt loose affiliations that define what kind of hunter you are. And we can have multiple hunters that have the same sort of kink. The basics of that are that the Evilinas, that's what they're called, they're the info nerds. They're the ones that go and research and figure things out and use that information to their advantage. The knights are ones that just want to go out and fight. They just want to go out there and kick butt. The Fuis are the tech people. They are the makers, the fixers, the builders, all of that kind of tech wizardy things. And lastly, the 66th, these are the hunters who know how to use the community. They know how to use people. They know how to bring those people in, how to protect that community, but also how to use the resources of the community to help things out. Each of those types has some stunts that are listed there on the kinks tab. During character creation, you can, when you go to pick your stunts, you can take up to one of those stunts from a kink. So there's a lot of stuff here. Okay. So let me go through how we're going to be doing these character creation, this process that we're going to be walking through. I'll turn to that page in here just to make sure I get this right in the order that they want me to do this. So first of all, let me have Sherry say who her character is. And then let me come around and see if some of you have some ideas about what kind of character you might want to do, what kind of kink or what kind of concept. We'll get that on the table as well before we kind of roll into making the hard choice. So Sherry, why don't you tell us about your character.
Okay, my name is Sherry. I use she, her pronouns. My character's name is Cass Indy Kowalski. She also uses she, her pronouns. Her description is she has a tricked out Crown Vic. That's her pride in her home. She has a bumper sticker on that says Indiana Academy of Excellence, but we are in San Gennaro, which is a long ways away from Indiana. And so her kink is phooey, and she is specifically a driver. Her backstory is that she's going to school here at like San Gennaro Community College. She wants to get a degree in mechanical engineering, but she doesn't have the money to have a place and go to school. So she lives in her car. She tries to make ends meet. She tries to get financial aid. She tries to get just enough so that she can keep on going to school and have access to the locker rooms and the, you know, the amenities that they have at school so that she can kind of just keep going. Her day job, like when she can actually have time to herself to make money and stuff, and she is an independent valet. So parking in parts of San Gennaro is very difficult. She has a catalog of places where you can safely park for a certain amount of time. You can pay her a small amount. She will put your car there and essentially bring it back to you when you need it. And you pay for that, but you know, she sort of guarantees that you won't have to worry about the ticket. Sometimes it means she takes the ticket in on herself, but that she has to pay that out of her money. But so that's her drama is so many parking tickets, because of course she also occasionally racks them up with her own car when she's sleeping in it overnight. Her high concept is called a car and a lab key. That really is about, she lives in her car and she lives at school and she has a key, you know, key to get into the labs and stuff like that. But that's like all she has. She also, the vision board is her aspirational. Hers is very modest. It's scrabbled together enough for next semester. Her day job is independent valet. And then her additional aspects are lots of good junk in the trunk and, well, no one is using it. So that is how she gets by. I chose skills that were heavy on the figuring things out and making a plan. So she's really good at guerrilla skills, which are pretty much making a plan and for the team. So it's a very team oriented, like, okay, you could do this and this and we'll all come together for this thing. She's good at academics and investigator. Those are at +3. At fair is hacker, spy, and survivor. And the average is grifter, maker, athlete, and fighter. So she can, if pressed, she can, you know, swing a bat, I guess, if she had one, but she's not like, that's not her thing for the most part. It's just last resort.
So I want to talk about those aspects because they're really the definitional things. High concept is the thing that really says who you are, like tells us something about you. Drama is, your drama aspect is the one that's most often going to cause you problems. Your vision board is aspirational, what you want. And then your day job, of course, is what you do. Aspects, the idea is you want them to be more evocative than specific. And we also want them to be a little double-edged. For example, we've got the vision board, and we can, with here that Sherry has, with Scrabble enough together for next semester, with the idea that maybe she can invoke that to maybe get a little money, maybe to know somebody who can help them out. But it also might be compelled in a situation. We might use it against her where she might not have enough money. And in that case, as a GM, I would say, I'm gonna offer to invoke that aspect against you, and I will give you a delicious fate point. Oh, you're losing money not taking it, but you'll have problems because of it. That's how that is going to work here. So that gives us a good overview for you. Shane, have you thought about maybe what kind of character you would want to do?
Yeah, a little bit. So I was thinking that I would like to play someone who was gearing up for the Olympics, really wanted to be an Olympic athlete, but in the probably in wrestling, in the final of the trials for Team USA, she blew out her knee, she couldn't continue, and now is forced to try and figure out some new life if she's not going to be an Olympic athlete. I was thinking, I mean, the knight is kind of an obvious kink for that, but also interested in maybe the 66 and being more like of a people person, or trying to organize her life that way now.
Oh, I like that very much. Even ones who are trading are not getting the money they used to, and I've heard about in different places Olympic athletes essentially surviving on peanut butter.
Yeah.
So no, that's a great concept. Mark, have you thought about what you might want to do?
I'm still working on a concept, but I had looked at possibly the knight or the Evelina. I think that probably tending toward the Evelina. And I'm just kind of
You're still
thinking about
okay,
my high
sure.
concept. Yeah.
Matthew, what are you thinking?
There we go.
There we go.
I've been thinking of a character who, well, I'm gearing towards the Kink Knight, and the vision I have for him is just kind of like, sort of a working class, like, broken family kind of a situation,
Mhm.
and he works days. His day job is as a motorcycle courier. So I'm still trying to like flesh out the personality for that, but I'm trying to respond to what people are building as well.
Oh, I think that makes perfect sense. All kinds of delivery that gets you lots of access around, being able to zip through traffic. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, the thing I'm struggling with right now is I'm trying to come up with the vision board thing. I originally thought of the idea that maybe he's an aspiring novelist, but then I couldn't, like, listening to you describe how that aspect is pulled in the case of Sherry. I couldn't figure out the double-edged sword that being an aspiring novelist would be, unless you have something for that.
Maybe like essentially like a people watcher or a fascinated by people, in the sense that you like to observe people because you're going to use that in your work, but that's the kind of thing where you get yourself like in the middle of stuff, or maybe stick around too long when you shouldn't, because you're like a little bit like you're a little too curious about how people are, kind of thing. And I could see that as a double-edged. Sherry?
Oh, I really like the idea of him being a fanfic person. He's got a ton of followers who are always demanding more to be added to the fanfic.
I think I'm going more with the, like, the self-indulgent, like, sees himself as like a modern day like Kerouac, Hemingway.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that kind of. But I think I like what you said about it getting in trouble for like lingering too much, like sort of a dark, shadowy Captain Linger, creepy dude. So I'll go with that.
Okay, awesome. Mark, I saw you kind of react like you had an idea there too.
Just Matthew's ideas are so great. I was reacting to those possible, but I was now leaning toward an Evelina, and I will need some help on this. But I think that in San Gennaro there is a show that is being done by Netflix type, maybe it's Instavids type company, and I think that my character is going to be a low level, like how far down the list from associate director do you have to get before you're at the level that this person is at. So that's my high concept. I have to just round it out.
Go for, doing grips, when they don't have the lighting person or the gaffer person in, and of course they're running a non-union shop, just to cut costs, and so people are getting all that kind of dangerous stuff, but they're getting tax breaks.
So if everyone's okay, I'll just go ahead and grab Evelina at this point.
Yeah, we can have more than one person in the same kink, so there's no problem with that.
Okay.
So what I'm going to let you do here for a bit is come up with some basic things on some of those concepts. You're going to get 2 additional concepts that you can come up with. Feel free to leave those blank if you want to figure those out and play. But the high concept, drama, vision board, and day job are sort of the are sort of the key ones. And then if you get stuck, maybe look at the skills. And again, you're going to get and it should be kind of marked by that red outline. You're going to get 1 skill at +4, 2 at +3, 3 at +2, and 4 at +1. And all of those skills are on the skills and stunts page. So I'm going to shut up for a little while, and I'll check in with you in a bit. And if you have questions or things you want to throw out, feel free to do that.
Okay, I'm going to start like speaking out about this high concept, and everybody guide me. So I'm thinking the high concept is something along the lines of just tell me what you need, or yeah, something along those lines. How should I tweak it though?
Yeah, just tell me what you need is good. It suggests you know how to act when something needs to be done and need to improvise on the fly. Um, uh, it's a little double-edged too, because it might be that maybe you're not great at taking charge yourself.
Yeah, okay, awesome. Okay, we'll leave it at that for the moment then. Thank you. So I'm just thinking back to what Sherry said about making sure that you look at what the skills are that offer attack.
Mhm.
I'm looking at the list, and an influencer is I'm trying to put together how influencer sorts out with attack so well. It's funny.
So attack is trying to do damage. In the case of the influencer, that's you doing social damage.
Social
That's you
damage.
doing mental damage, that kind of stress.
Interesting. Thank you. I'm the only one who's like asking questions and stuff.
That's okay.
I'm the slow student, you guys.
Yeah, I mean, my question really is like, I've written down some things for aspects, and I guess I just like a second opinion about whether they're good, whether they're adequately double-edged, like whether there's better ways to phrase them and things like that.
So let's walk through those. So what have you taken for your high concept?
So for that, I put frustrated Olympic hopeful.
So that tells us that you're a person who's gone through training, who has some skills, maybe has admirers. There's a lot of uses for that, and the frustrated helps us, gives us the double edge on that. So I think that works. What about for your drama aspect?
So I put banged up, intending that conveys that that she has both serious and minor injuries all the time, like she struggles with that. But also I see it connecting to like the kind of economic side of the game, in that she could really get herself together if she could take some of these better paying jobs, but she can't because of her knee and because of these other injuries. But that means that she doesn't have the money to fix the injury in the first place, and it's just this endless kind of cycle.
I think that's great. And on a positive use, you could, I think, certainly invoke that for trying to push past certain stressors. But yeah, I think that's a great drama aspect. And your vision board?
So for that, I put sponsored athlete. Um, she ultimately wants to make a living off of being an athlete somehow. I know, probably we all know, that's almost impossible for an Olympian, much less, a Olympic alternate who didn't make the team. But also, puts a lot of pressure on her to maintain a certain image, or at least she feels that she has to do that to, avoid doing anything that might turn off potential sponsors in future.
Yeah, and that you've also recognized that it isn't just, you can't just put in the work, that there is so much more to it. And your day job?
Pee Wee wrestling coach. Doesn't pay very well, but keeps one foot in the wrestling world.
And are you definitely thinking wrestling as the sport of choice there?
Yeah, I think so.
And certainly Pee Wee wrestling coach implies that there are parents who are out there, who are paying for the little bit of that. And if they see you on the news, that's going to be a problem. Or if you run into a parent at some point.
A parent wants to hire a monster hunter.
Yeah. I think those all work.
Okay, great. And I'm just fiddling with my skills a bit.
Okay. So Shane, I've set your two stress boxes based on tracks based on the skills. Everybody starts with 3 check marks. The stress thing is actually a little bit wrong. I used old Fate Core, but is a little bit different. Everyone starts with 3 in each, and then because you're an athlete, you get +2 for having a 1 to 2, and then another +2 for having a 3 to 4. So you get 7 physical boxes, and then survivor gives you 2 extra mental stress boxes for the 1 to 2. Sure, I'm going to go through and fix yours as well.
I also have a booster on, I think, mental, which is survivor. So, but it's only the first level.
Well, and you have a 1 to 2 on athletics, so that gives you 2 physical.
Woot.
So Matthew, you want to talk about what you've got for aspects?
Yes. But about.
So start with your high concept. Tell us what you've got for that.
So I hate this town, but it's my town. The idea being that my character really wants out, really doesn't really, well, is really hypercritical of the town, and really like believes they see it for what it is, but at the same time rejects any criticism, or at least has very strong opinions about anybody talking about that town, as well as uh, sort of like push and pull, wanting to leave and wanting to stay.
So the sense that you're really a local, like you were born, raised here, grew up here, you know it.
Yes.
That's a real asset for you. Okay. Tell me about drama.
Drama, a family, and a slammer. This is a little bit more loosely defined, but I want to have at least one parent or sibling in jail. But if you want to get it, like, make it super juicy, maybe maybe 2, maybe 3 people are in there. And I'm gonna say that uh, like, one angle we can explore is that they're in jail for a crime that they didn't commit that has something to do with the supernatural.
So what do you think they're in for? I mean, how bad is it?
Like convicted murderer, and
Okay.
the supernatural has a nasty way of like making sure there's no like sensible evidence.
So they got framed up, and that's part of what's driving you on this? Do you know? Are you pretty sure they got framed up, or is it an open question? What do you think?
I think I like it more if my character's uncertain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe so father, brother, what do you think? Sister, mom?
Hmm. Ooh. Ooh. Both are tempting, father or mother. Let's go with father for now.
Okay. Do you think your father was innocent before that, or were they a little more shady before that, or were they like act?
They're totally shady.
Okay. Oh, absolutely. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
He's the kind of father who's like, hey kid, I'm gonna straighten my life around, and one day we'll be a big happy family, and doesn't really happen. Always between jobs, maybe spent one too many evenings, on the couch with a beer in the hand.
and tell me about your vision board, how you define that.
So as we sort of alluded to earlier, looking to write a great novel. My character is a big fan of all the, so-called the literary canon. I have a lot of thoughts and feelings about what constitutes a literary canon, but that is not this game right now. Yeah. Yeah. So, and they want to be that kind of person to write about something that speaks to the generation over time, maybe write a novel about the town itself. And so there's something really problematic about it too, because they aspire to write a novel and hopefully that's their ticket out of here.
So a certain amount of creativity, a certain amount of constantly looking around for new material, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's a little bit of a parallel also between, a potential parallel between him and his dad, because this kid can research and think about like, what their novel is gonna be, but they can also make that novel seem like some undetermined future that will never happen.
And your day job?
A motorcycle courier. I think the character knows all the streets or the shortcuts in the city as a result of that job. So really sort of sharpening the hyper local concept of the character.
Okay. Motor scooter, motorcycle, like a curious style, or a more sort of patchwork together kind of thing. What are you thinking?
Well, let's be a little cool and make it like, not exactly like the most expensive fanciest bike ever, but definitely a cool dude's bike that he got from his dad when his dad went into jail.
Yeah. So probably older. You probably have to keep it up, have to make sure that it sticks together. Probably nice enough looking that people eye it
and they
as
don't
a valuable thing.
Yeah, and they don't necessarily ship the parts out here to. Actually, I don't know whether our town is nice or not, but let's just say it's hard to get the parts here.
Oh yeah. Any of the specialty things now, you have to go onto eBay, or you have to find a 3D printer form for it and get somebody to print out the part and cut it for you.
Like, you mean VBay or Fred's List?
Yeah. Awesome. So let's come over to Mark. Why don't you tell us about what you've got?
I have to apologize, and I'm happy that I'm on mute because I have explosive bursts of laughter. So thanks for bearing with me. So let's see, I've got Just Tell Me What You Need. And then for drama, I thought maybe Ash is she's an influencer of sorts, in addition to her job at Netflix, where she's trying to climb the ladder. And she is always she's doing whatever she thinks is appropriate at the time to gain more followers. She is keeping her job as, maybe she shouldn't. I was thinking she should keep her job as a hunter separate from her influencing, but how much trouble is she going to get in if she includes that?
I think that's exactly the question. I think that is what makes the drama, is that there's a lot of bleed. You're not sure what people are going to see. You've got people pushing back on you, and you're trying to balance that with the job that you do.
So is more followers appropriate drama there then?
Yeah, I think that could be, especially if somebody calls you out publicly.
Yes.
I think that's great. And then vision board.
Yeah. To be a director for Netflix as a staff director. But obviously the other side, I guess, of that is that she knows she's going to have to make compromises in order to do that.
But you do have a job, even at the lowest level, but so that you can swing around and try and pull. And of course, the Netflix name has some cachet.
Yes.
And you've got maybe a little bit of training on how to wrangle people, so that's a good thing there. And then day job.
She's a Netflix gopher. And if anybody wants to, I'll crowdsource the name of, or the type of show, or the name of the show that she is doing this for. Is it one of their is it one of their real life things? Is it a scripted drama? Anyone have anything they want to throw out?
I think you have to be working with actors because they're terrible.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I have an idea. Maybe they're filming a dark urban fantasy Gauntlet adaptation here.
Yes.
Ooh, supernatural romance.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, the the sort of modern, more like 20 some version of Buffy, I guess.
Yes. Excellent. Outstanding. So that's on there. If anybody comes up with a name, I'm ready to write it down.
So let me ask you this. It feels to me a little bit like because you've got some of the aspects of your high concept maybe covered with your day job descriptor.
Yep.
I wonder if we can tweak that a little bit to describe like maybe who you are personally, and your hunger for things and so on.
And the high concept.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent.
Yeah. Just you don't have to do that now, but just maybe think about that so you can get some nice differentiation between those two.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you.
Let's do this since we're right at the hour. Let's take our first longer 10-minute break here. And when we come back, we'll take a look at stunts and what those mean. And then we'll start asking some questions deeper about who our characters are. Okay. So let's take 10. So we're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit about stunts. Before I get too much further in, I want to stop and flip back and talk about what we've got as our lines and veils, so everyone is comfortable with those things. So right now, for sort of a veil, off screen, and ask first, we have racial bigotry. For off screen, essentially, it happens off screen. We can reference it, but it's not on screen. Bigotry based on sex and gender. We have an ask first for any kind of loss of agency. That's a really good thing to have in there, especially when we might have monsters that might have some abilities to do that. We'll definitely do a check-in on that. For any kind of sexual, explicitness that's off screen. For hard line on sexual violence, a hard line also on torture, also on cancer, and also on medical injustice. And then we have a off-screen on violence to children. So we'll check in with these each session to make sure anything has been added, or to keep ourselves updated on that. Okay. So let me tell you how stunts work. We've got a list of them that are on the skills and stunts page that are associated with particular skills. You don't have to have that particular skill to take that stunt. Some of them do affect that particular stunt, but you don't actually have to have them. Oh, I erased academic at the top. And then there are stunts associated with the kinks. You will begin with 2 stunts for free. You get those for free, right? One of the stunts may be from the kink, but that's just only one. And generally we want to like check in and make sure that if 2 people have the same stunt, that they're cool with that, because it's always fun to have unique stunts. Now you say, well, look at all these great stunts. They are wonderful. I wish I could have more stunts. Well, you can. Let me tell you how. So you're going to start with 5 refresh. That means at the start of each session, you're going to have 5 fate points. That's a lot. That's probably too many. So what you can do is you can lower your refresh. And for each refresh that you lower, like each point, you get another cool stunt. So you could, assuming you were willing to go the whole hog, you could get 5 more stunts. And then each session would start with no fate points, and then you just have to work for them. I suggest you don't do that. Even as a sinister GM, I think that would be a very bad idea. But you can do that. You can take a look and see what you're thinking about. Sherry, I know you have your stunts. I'm going to let others kind of go through and look at those and go through. Tell us about what you took, and then I've got a question for you that I should have asked before.
Oh yeah, probably should have asked it, but no,
Okay.
it's too late. So I just want to check with the skills. If I remember correctly, we chose basic protocol and then one of the stunts under the kink to define what kind of kink, or did I just have a buy up at the end of like during the last game?
Basic protocol is not a stunt.
I know, but you got it. But so you get one of the stunts from your protocol. I mean, from your
you start with 2, and
Okay.
then you get 2 more. So you've got 4 stunts. So you are right on the money.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Because the basic protocol isn't a stunt. So you've got
Okay.
4. Because
All
your
right.
refresh is 3.
Yeah. All right. Good. I was like, ooh, that's weird. But if it's not, that's cool. Let's see here. So, what was the question that you wanted?
Well, tell us about your stunts. Which ones you
Well,
took?
I'm suspicious that I'm going to get set up. Okay.
Do you want me to? Do you want to answer the question first?
Sure.
What do you look like? How are you dressed?
I have a picture right there.
most important. But no, I want you to tell us like what's your usual look, and like when we see you on screen, what's the outfit that is you?
She has a set of semi-ironic uniform shirts that she wears, like things from like gasoline stations and fast food restaurants, and things that you get the impression they probably hold up to a commercial laundromat pretty well. I mean, not commercial, but a laundromat pretty well. And so she wears those and switches through a couple pairs of jeans. The only thing that she has that looks a little bit expensive are the glasses that she has. She does have some very nice sunglasses.
Okay.
And she tries to push, she tries to look like maybe she's cool. And some people would believe that. She's cool with that.
Okay. Now tell us about your stunt you chose.
Okay. So I think what I chose, well, my basic protocol, I have it on there just so it's clear. But my first stunt that I chose was I wanted to define her as, she was a fooey, but a driver was kind of the main thing, at least for her sense of herself, is that she has this car, she drives, she knows about cars in a city, she knows where cars can go well and where they can't go well, and she knows how to get around the city as a driver, if that makes any sense, which is not an insignificant skill if you've ever lived in the city.
So you get an extra invoke on the creative advantage with the car, and then defend actions give you a +2 when driving or piloting. Okay.
Exactly. So,
And the
okay.
others?
Yes. So one of the things, because he has great sunglasses, I had to make a stunt that kind of went with that. So she has impressive escape. You're very good at walking away from explosions while putting on sunglasses. When you use your spy skill set to create an advantage as a diversion for escape, it can also act as an attack action.
Okay.
Okay. Then I also use cold logic. You get the way the world works and can apply reason to the face of supernatural influence. You can use academic to defend against supernatural mental influence. So she's got a little like, well, not really, actually, kind of uses the glasses to defend herself. And then small unit tactics. Once per scene, when I create an advantage reflecting team tactics, I can add one additional free invoke to it. The catch is 2 different characters have to use those invokes.
Okay. That is excellent. Shane, tell us what your character looks like and like how are they dressed?
Yeah, so I mean, she must be very early 20s, I think. She has her hair pulled back in a couple of braids to keep it out of the way. She's, for the most part, she's kind of like conventionally attractive, but she has pretty gnarly cauliflower ears. And she dresses in like pretty sort of plain, basic athletic type gear. Like she's going to be wearing either sweatpants or bike shorts, depending on the weather, and probably some wrestling themed t-shirt or a hoodie.
Tall, short, in between?
Yeah, I think quite like relatively short.
Okay.
Short, but like a bit jacked.
Okay, I like that. Looking at the stunts, are there any of those that you're like, ooh, this one I really want to have?
There's a few that I'm into. I think the one that I'm pretty like sure about is impressive speech by the organizer.
Okay.
The organizer skill. I can't go past a skill that lets you make an inspirational, motivational speech. And yeah, not so sure past that.
Okay. Yeah. So perfect. Also, you don't have to pick all your stunts today. So at least write that one down, and then you can pick the other ones as you see fit.
Cool.
All right. Let's hear what Ashley looks like, or Ash.
Ash is also in her early 20s. She has kind of a darker skin tone, and she wears her hair very short. She tends to wear t-shirts and skinny jeans, and also sneakers, which are really kind of lower end sneakers because she is on her feet a lot. She tends to go through them pretty quickly.
You say darker skin. Is she a particular ethnic group, or is she mistaken?
She's an African American.
Okay.
Yep, with a darker skin tone.
Oh, okay. And taking a look at the stunts, are there any of those that strike you?
Man, there are so many good ones. I am still having trouble choosing, so
okay,
you'll need to come back to me.
Sure. Matthew, what's your character's name? I don't see a name.
My apologies.
That's
I'm
okay.
still working on a name, but I've decided to go with a femme today. And I have already picked out a picture because I am not good with descriptions.
Okay.
But fair-skinned, auburn hair.
Let me look at the picture here. Awesome. Yep. And so what do you imagine as a bike courier? What's your normal dress? And are you saying she, her for pronouns, or they, them? Or
yeah,
okay.
She, her.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going with a my imagine it takes me to a place where she's keen on wearing like dark turtlenecks and maybe a denim jacket over it to just sort of
Okay.
like keep her warm during the night rides. And with all that, wind blowing through, you don't want to catch a chill.
Awesome. And
A lot
I
of
see.
buttons a lot of buttons on the jacket and all that stuff.
I noticed the picture has a cross. Do you imagine that that's an affectation for her? Does she have like religious objects that she's wearing?
Yeah, I'd say her family is Christian, and she's just sort of like still figuring it out, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
And have you looked at the stunts? Are there any of those that you're like, oh, I gotta have this one?
I am still figuring out the stunts.
Okay.
I have to, yeah,
Absolutely.
falling a little behind here.
That is okay. Sherry, where does Cass live? You're muted. Take a drink.
Cass lives in her car. She gives the school an address of a parking lot, and they've never noticed. She has a PO box. That's another thing she has to pay for. Yeah, but pretty much she doesn't. She will sleep on a lounge couch, like at times where they won't think that she's trying to stay overnight. So like a lot of times she'll get a lot of her sleep during the afternoon, and stuff like that, or in the morning. She'll go in, sleep on a couch at one of the lounges in the schools, and then essentially be up and around in her car. But when push comes to shove, when school's out of session, she sleeps in her car.
And she's at the community college, the Saint Generic Community College, as opposed to UC Saint Generic. What is she studying?
Like prep for mechanical engineering, in the sense of like she got to college and found out that like maybe her high school education didn't have quite the calculus that she should have had to go into engineering. And her writing skills were not particularly good as well. So even though she went to like a school for talented people, she did not get enough to be ready for engineering college.
I think that is perfectly fair. Who is the person that outside of the PCs, we're going to have our meet eventually here, but that is your fallback person?
Takahiro.
Okay.
He's like one of the first people Cass met outside of school, and he is this amazingly passionate, 100% emotional, half Filipino guy that just like came up to her and adopted her as the best friend. She had no choice but had to be his best friend. And he lives a life of drama and soap opera that Cass can barely comprehend.
Okay.
But he's super true to himself, and she can never deny him anything. Yeah, he always has a whirlwind of love interests and troubles going on. His mom is a great cook, and on a good day, Takahiro will bring some by.
Okay. Romy, where do you live? Are you in a shared apartment? Do you have your own little space? What kind of place do you imagine that you crash?
Yeah, so I think she lives in like a pretty cheap shared apartment with other athletes. Like they all, they all split the giant bucket of protein powder in the kitchen. They all, have pretty weird schedules and things. They can support each other and stuff like that.
Are you the only one amongst them that has kind of fallen out, or the others, or some of the others that have also followed that path?
I think everyone still thinks of themselves as an athlete, but probably nobody there has really like made it. Like maybe there's someone who has their first upcoming fight on the undercard of a boxing match or something like that. That's the biggest opportunity anyone has actually made it to so far.
And the Pee-wee coaching,
Mhm.
do you do it as a school or do you do it as at a gym? What do you think?
Oh, yeah, good question. I was imagining more like a gym.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we probably got one of those like children's athletic centers where on the one half we've got the Cobra Kai like martial arts stuff going on, and then we've got the Pee-wee wrestling. You're helping out. Like, do you imagine that pretty young kids or teenagers?
Yeah, I was imagining preteen kids.
Okay.
The more experienced coaches get the teenagers and stuff like that. I've got the entry level position with the, I don't know, 5 to 8 year olds.
Okay. And who is it at that gym that you have the the tightest relationship, either for good or for ill?
Yeah, that's a good question. I've got a name generator open, so I'm just going to use
Sure.
it quickly. So I think it's a woman named Rose Garcia. I mean, I think she is one of the maybe they don't call them coaches, but one of the Cobra Kai senseis, and the two of us have bonded over, both working with children. Both, neither of us is really living our dreams at this point, but we have a lot in common, as maybe also a couple of the only women who are in coaching roles at the gym.
Nice. Your age range? Older, younger?
It should be about my age.
Okay, yeah. So a strong peer.
Yeah.
All right. Let me come to. Well, let me ask you one more question before I move on. Did you move out here to pursue the athletics dreams, or do you have family here? Like, where are you, local or from somewhere else?
Yeah, good question. I think maybe it comes from a smaller town and moved here. I think you mentioned UC San Gennaro. Maybe that's where she wrestled in college, and she came here for their well-regarded wrestling program.
Oh yeah, big school, huge, fancy, and coming out of that would have been such a boost, and then to kind of fall down. Yeah. There's probably a whole community of people that get stuck as permanent outliers to the college.
Yeah. Can I just ask a question about a stunt?
Yeah.
One of the stunts, sorry, let me just find it, says that you can do something once per chapter. What's a chapter in the game?
But basically for this, I would say once per mission, like once per job.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks.
Ashley, where do you live?
Ashley lives, she's got kind of a similar situation. There's actually, it's essentially squatting. There's an abandoned hospital in the area, and a lot of the locals have kind of taken over parts of that hospital. They're squatting in it. And she lives in a room there with several other people who do various jobs. But the real problem is just avoiding having the police or anyone else kick them out.
Why did the hospital close down? Was it an older hospital or was it a newer hospital that went bankrupt? What do you think?
It was an older hospital that you would normally find in the Abandoned America Twitter feed. But it's been upkept well enough that it's habitable in a way.
Okay. What has kept developers or others from knocking this down?
It's a brownfield site due to they had problems with the radiology lab, which was located in the basement. And
the cost to actually probably knock it down and do all of the work there is more than anybody's willing to spend.
So they need governmental super funds in order really to accomplish that. And so the community that's using it is just holding on to it for the time being.
When you say community, are we talking 20, 30 people? Or are we talking 100?
Yeah, I'd say probably 50 to 100 people. It
Okay.
varies, depending on, because a lot of people are housing insecure. And so you have people who come in and out. Sometimes they come back if they're in bad situations.
So I assume you're not local to the area.
No, let's see where Ashley is from Texas.
Okay. So how is it that you came out here?
This is where the Netflix jobs are. So, although they're probably actually everywhere, but this is where she found that she was going to have an opportunity to get into a position there. She went to college. Where is San Gennaro in California? South?
It's sort of mid. It's kind of in that, maybe it's sort of San Francisco and maybe it's toward LA. It's a little vague.
She actually went to UCLA, and it was a partial scholarship, but she spent everything that she made, and now she has her college loans to pay off as well.
And who's a person that like when you're not working, you spend time with?
I think that you're going to come back to me because I can't.
Sure, absolutely, yeah. And it could be somebody from the workplace. It could be somebody there.
Right.
Baristas, whatever. Baristas are classic fallback.
Yes.
Matthew, where does Charlotte live? I mean, you mentioned that she has family here. We know she's a local. Is she still living at home? Is she living with a sibling, uncle, or is she on her own?
I see she's living on her own in probably a poorer part of the neighborhood.
Okay.
Mhm.
And why isn't she living at home?
Well, because family's in jail.
Well, your dad's in jail. What about the rest of the family? Who else is around?
I would say that the mom. I would say the mom moved away, and took the sister with her.
Okay. So dad went to jail. They left. Wherever the family was living got cut off. Do you have any kind of relatives or support network here at all?
Actually, we have a cousin.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do they do?
They tend bar.
That's a classic and honorable profession.
Mm-hmm.
And this place that you live at, this apartment, shared, or is it individual and like super tiny? What do you think?
I think I think maybe the bar is like is I'm not sure how these property works in terms of zoning or whatever, but there's like a small spot above the bar.
Oh yeah,
where someone can crash.
Yeah. So your cousin has an inn, got you this incredibly small spot there that sometimes they have to put overflow liquor boxes in there. Okay.
Yeah.
And where do you keep your bike?
Let's see.
Is there a space there, or do you have a private like plate, like a rental shed you put it in? What do you think?
Oh, the garage, the small like place where they will store like like where you back up all the liquor and all that stuff. Although you know what, I'm now compelled by there's a thing in one of the materials that you provided in the folder about a meat shop. The example was smells like meat. I'm now tempted to make the cousin work at a slaughterhouse, and that's ample space to store a bike.
Oh, absolutely. And maybe there's a space that maybe used to be for like a night watchman kind of thing that you
Yeah.
can rent out there, that now they got actual security service that drives around. And there is that smell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah. Sometimes in the summer, the end where
Woo.
there's just can get a little ripe.
Yeah. Mhm.
All right.
So yep, it's a butcher shop. Just yeah.
So it looks like you've picked one of your stunts, Matthew.
That's right.
Well, tell us about the stunt that you picked.
I'm actually I'm still actually a little confused by how I pick or what I pick.
Sure.
My understanding was that for the night kink, you choose one of the basics things, and between situational awareness, pain don't hurt, team spirit, and best defense, I chose situational awareness, and now I'm not sure if I qualify for other stunts or
Absolutely. So
not.
you pick one of those.
Yeah.
And then you can pick any of the stunts that are on the skill stunt tab.
All right.
Yeah. You can pick any of those.
Okay, and it's
You get 2 for free.
Yeah, 2 for free. All right, and then the number for like fighter, survivor, like all those, they don't have a bearing on what skills or stunts you pick.
Correct. They don't.
Okay, all right. That's
Yeah,
where
you can
my
take
brain
whatever
got
you want.
shorted.
Yeah.
I thought it was like, well, if you take survivor, you can qualify for the rank 3 stunt or some nonsense like that.
No, the nonsense is rather minimal.
All right, cool.
And so you took a situational awareness.
Yeah.
When you're compelled by or imperiled by a situational aspect. And that means if there's some environmental aspect that I use to say, oh, you're going to get caught in this, and offer you a fate point. When you do that, you're going to get a boost, which means you're going to get if you take that compel, you're going to get the fate point, plus you're also going to get a boost on your next action. You're going to get essentially a +2 forward.
All right. What would an example of that be like? Like maybe a very elemental example of such a of a mechanic in motion.
One of my classics is why is this room on fire? And that's how we start the game. And it might be that I'd say you want to do something. I'd say you are caught by the heat of the flames, and I think that's gonna overcome you right now from where you're at. I will offer you take a fate point to essentially get caught by the heat and smoke for a bit. That would be a situational compel there.
All right, cool. All right.
And then when you make an aspect reflecting your ability to repurpose the environment into a weapon, you get +3 when you invoke it. So when you put together a makeshift weapon, it is a badass makeshift weapon.
All right.
Looks like you picked a couple there, Ashley.
Yes, I picked Trivia Buff. You know a little bit about. I'm sorry. Did you want us to just talk about what the stunt is?
Tell us. Yeah.
So know a little bit about a lot of things. So long as you can justify it with a weirdly relevant factoid, you can spend a fate point to use academic in place of any other skill set.
Very nice.
And feint. You fake out your opponents before delivering the haymaker. When you create an advantage by delivering a fake attack to put your opponent off guard, take an additional free invoke on the aspect you create. Quick question.
Sure.
So this is something that I've always tried to sort out in fate. When you create an advantage, by creating an advantage, you are simultaneously creating an aspect that is that advantage, right?
Yeah. So like if you did like Phantom Punch, let's say that was how you described that, we'd roll for the create advantage, and we'd see whether you failed, tied, or succeeded, in which you get an invoke, or succeeded with silence, which you get 2 invokes, and that stays out there. In that case, that kind of thing is the aspect the aspect will stay as long as you've got the invokes to use. But probably if the situation changes, then that aspect will be like, we'll take it off the table.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. So I'm holding at 2 for the moment.
Okay. Oh. As we go along, you may change your mind. Feel free to do that.
Right.
Everybody should set their refresh to 5 and their fate points to 5. And then let's take a quick 5 minutes. And when we come back, we're going to essentially cross paths in a scene, and you can figure out more stunts or whatever, but let's just take a quick 5.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, did I not want to? There we go. So we're going to play out a scene to kind of cross paths to get a sense of how the game works. The roll with me is here. That has you can make the fate dice on the table for yourself as you need to, and we'll try this out. If you like, oh, now I want this stunt, you can take that stunt and lower your refresh by one if you haven't taken. If you've still got room here. So, Sherry, this spider demon guy that you're following, what does he look like?
I mean, the problem with the spider demon guys is that they look like ordinary guys, except, like they have a pot belly, kind of strange thing. And they always wear those ones sort of windbreakers.
Okay.
Because they want something like that when they need their horrible extra limbs, they just sort of rip through them. It's like a uniform. And this one, the thing that you notice kind of right away is he has a nervous tick. And so there's always this kind of scritching sound. And you can kind of see where like one of his, do you call them spider toes? I don't know. Is always kind of scratching at the windbreaker right below his chest pocket on the front.
Romy, how is it that you kind of crossed wires and are also following this same spider demon? Do you think it's a hiccup in the app? Is it that sort of 10-minute undercutting and you get that cross bid and you're like, maybe this person underbid me, but maybe I can go and get them? How do you think that's worked?
Like, I don't know how it's actually worked, but Romy is very superstitious about the algorithm, and she thinks that because she has a particular problem grappling anyone with more than the normal number of limbs, that the algorithm has just sent her after a spider demon to mess with her.
Absolutely. And what do you think, and this is the question for the two of you, what do you think is the thing that spooked this spider demon?
I think it's probably the toad demon.
Okay. So this toad demon, you saw it for a bit. The spider demon got spooked, took off. You're down by the docks and you heard some music and you saw this spider demon, like this guy kind of run onto this barge with some containers on it and then kind of vanish down into the hold of the barge. And when the two of you got on there, you realize that there's some kind of like below decks dance party going on down there. And the spider demon has just run down into the crowd down there.
What kind of music is it?
That's the best I can do. It is probably techno ska reggae. But I want you to keep in mind that it's on speakers and the acoustics on the interior of a metal barge are not great. So that it's techno ska reggae is just a joy, because otherwise you can't make out. We'll come back to you two in a bit. So Ashley, what were you doing when the alert popped up on iHunt that a vampire was seen and there's a standing $1,000 bounty on vampires that are brought in? What were you in the middle of?
Doing some Instagram selfies down by the riverside, if there's a river in San Gennaro. Yeah, down by the riverside doing some Instagram selfies.
At least a canal.
Yeah.
And you would have gotten that pop-up and you would have looked and you would have seen it's close by. Gear up, head that way.
Yep.
And it would have been just a couple of minutes before our whole spider demon, frog demon incident. And you would have arrived and immediately heard the music and seen that this vampire must be amongst the crowd down there.
Oh boy. Start heading in that direction.
Yeah, you would have headed down. This is clearly an old barge. In fact, you're like, this is one of those like fixtures that have been sitting here for a long time, kind of semi-rusted out. The whole place is kind of vibrating with this. As you walk down in, there are various crates and things, and it's crowded, and there's terrible lighting with strobe stuff going on, and there's people dancing at the far end of this place. This hold, you can see that there is a DJ playing stuff, and there's the smell of canal water and sweat and vomit all mixed in here. Charlotte, what were you doing when you got the vampire heads up?
I'd say Charlie was just barely managed to make a delivery on time. And what time of day is it? Is it night?
Oh yeah, we're talking 11 o'clock at night here.
All right, so great hour, because that means Charlie can sort of take advantage of such a late hour to take shortcuts using more than just like geography, but even the built environment to, I want to say do Daredevil 6 stunts, but definitely like, you know, dismount from the expressway in unorthodox fashion.
Absolutely. You know where like the side routes are that maintenance workers and stuff take to get to places. You know how to use those. A little hop and a jump, and you would have made it. And how do you usually secure your bike when you go on jobs like these?
Well, having never owned any form of vehicle whatsoever, I have no idea how vehicular security works. My understanding is that people use bike chains or
Yeah.
one of those. See, I don't even have the word for it.
Yeah, you essentially you've got a bar, a lockdown bar on the
Yeah.
wheel, and
Yeah, that.
you would rush up, see this barge situation, and be like, oh, that's not going to be a great place to fight a vampire, but we'll see what's going on.
It's like this blaring music you said, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's cut back to paths have been crossed here. Romy, Cass, you've both kind of collided here at the point of going down in. The spider demon has gone down in. Have you two met before?
That's a good question.
What do you think, Romy?
I think it's pretty plausible that we've met before. Like we're both kind of student age-ish. We're both, you know, I mean, it seems like the app sometimes tangles up people's assignments as well. So I think maybe I'm tempted by the idea that we have like a low-key friendly rivalry.
Yeah, and I think she will hold up her phone. It's a little beaten up. It's got the masking tape around it, you know, but you can see the call for the spider demon, and her name is underneath it. She goes, "What are you doing here?"
Romy just like lets out this exasperated sigh. This again, look, And then she gets out her phone, and it just takes a very long time. Like, she cannot get the app to open right. She's like, listen, it's look, I can't show you right now, but I promise that my name is under that spider demon on this app on my phone.
It better be a different client. If it is, then I'm cool. We'll both claim it on a dead spider demon. So what'd you bring to bring it down?
Rolls up the sleeves, does a little double bicep pose.
No. Romy.
What?
All right, I'll let you help me.
Very kind of you.
And the two
See
of
which
you,
way it went?
yeah,
Okay.
you can see the metal stairs going down into this place, and you can start to make your way down into the hold. There is a bouncer there, very lethargic, but does kind of look at you, and then clearly just kind of waves you on in.
What kind of lethargic? I mean, we are monster hunters. We know our vampiric blood drain lethargy, you know, the demon, what do you say, enchanted.
Yeah, he's a little
Lethargy
more
still-
glassy-eyed than you would have expected.
So maybe vampires?
Maybe vampires. Let's have you make a roll here. Let's have you roll academic here.
Okay. All right. Well, I got academic at 3, I think, right?
That you do.
Okay. So I'm going to roll 3 of these babies.
You're gonna roll 4 of those babies
I am.
and add 3.
Okay. Well, I'll just roll these pluses and 2 more. Hoping these are all. And I'm going to add 3. Oh, I hate fudge dice so much. Ugh, see? -1 + 3 is a 2. Unfair.
He clearly got that daze of someone who's been given some subliminal,
Subliminal?
like maybe a vampire, like a command. He's definitely got that look to him.
Okay. Let's see. So what are the orders as I walk by?
Everybody comes in, stays in. Everybody stays in.
I look at Romy and I go, okay, first we're going to check out ways out.
Let me cut to Ashley. Ashley, you've made your way down into this place. It is foul and unpleasant, and hot. What is your approach here?
So I think much like Rami, she actually rolls up her sleeves because it's so disgustingly hot down here, not just to show off her biceps, but so is she down in the hold where the party
you
is?
walk down in the
Okay.
hold. There's steps. There's at the start. There's some crates and things.
Yeah.
But then you walk and there's a dance floor and the DJ at the far end.
I know I'm looking for a vampire. I'm looking for somebody who looks really hungry in a certain way in the crowd.
Let's have you roll investigator.
Right. So it's +2. So how do I roll these dice? Do I have to click on all of them again?
So I think you
The
could
fate dice?
click on all of them and then hit the reroll button. It should work.
Copy that. Oof. Okay.
So that's a 1.
Yeah. So that's the same. So let's see.
Now you could invoke an aspect. If you have one you think is appropriate, spend a fate point to give yourself a +2.
Yeah, I need to work on some more aspects here because I don't have one. Let's see.
You could add one, you've got 2 blanks.
Yeah, so let's see. Trying to think of something that I could create that is appropriate for that. Something related to face in the crowd, or someone that doesn't belong.
Something like crowd reader,
Yeah, let's do that.
like that you're good at reading.
Reading a crowd.
Yeah.
Reading the crowd. Okay.
And so if you spend a fate point, you
Yep.
can bump that up to a 3. And I think that you will notice this guy who looks a little overdressed, and maybe a little bit older, like more suburban dad kind of thing, with a windbreaker on. But there's this weird scritchy on the inside of his windbreaker that looks unnatural. And he's looking around with a kind of voracious hunger right now. You're pretty certain that's not a vampire, but it's something else.
Okay, interesting. So I'm sorry, what's inside his windbreaker? It's a weird.
Like, imagine that, like you see like something like scritching on the inside.
Oh, okay.
You know, like maybe he's got a puppy in there or something. You don't think it's a puppy. Let's come back to you, Charlie. You look down, you can see that this hold is clearly the place where your target's going to be. How do you want to approach this?
Well, in the din of the music and in the dark of the night, Charlie will approach the situation with sort of with stealth, just moving slowly and just sort of trying to be able to gather as much information as possible as she moves from position to position.
So
And,
go down in, and maybe you're starting to move amongst the
containers or
the containers.
Yeah.
Okay.
'Cause you said it's a disco barge or something, right? Like a party barge.
It's an old like hauling barge that somebody has converted into this dance thing. These are old rusty metal boxes and things. This is tetanus waiting to happen.
Why don't we say that the name of the club party event is Tetanus?
Oh yeah. I think that is a perfect thing to call it. Let's have you roll. Let me think here what the most appropriate thing here. Do you have spy?
I do have spy.
Let's have you roll with spy.
All right. So if it's fair +2, I roll
Four of those fate dice, and then you add 2 to the total.
Got it. All right. So 4 fate dice. Rolling. Wait, what? I don't. Did I get a 3? I don't understand.
So you got it reads the fate dice incorrectly. I think you hit what it was is you actually rolled the d6 down there is what I rolled there.
Okay, I see it.
Yeah.
I am now selecting them, and now I am rolling them. I see 3 negatives and a blank. So that's not great.
That is a -1.
Yes.
Are you happy with that, or do you want to invoke a aspect to reroll?
Not for now. No.
Okay.
Let's get some
Then
trouble.
I think we see you screeching along behind there. And I think that's the moment that we can see sort of peel itself off the ceiling. Hanging by these pipes, we see this bat-like figure. What we know is a comatose, a classic bat vampire, and it lowers itself down behind you, and you don't see it, you don't hear it. We'll come back to you in just one second. Romy, What are you doing? Dance floor, looking for the spider demon, the noise. Oh, this whole thing seems a little weird. Then maybe there's a vampire here too. This is crazy.
Well, I don't think I'm so concerned about the vampire. Like, I'm not. Nobody's offered to pay me for a vampire right now.
It's a standing $1,000.
I think Romy is like one thing at a time sort
One
of
thing,
person.
fair
She's
enough.
not going to get distracted by a possible vampire. Um, yeah, I think she'll like look around to see if there's any way she can get a set of earplugs. But it doesn't really seem like it's that sort of club. And then just I think start asking around, like ask some people at the edge of the dance floor. Maybe like, hey, I'm looking for my boyfriend. Did you see him? He's got, got a windbreaker, older guy, doesn't dance so well.
I think that maybe influencer, or I could see socialite.
Oh yeah, socialite. I'll take it.
Okay.
All right. So let's see. Man. I don't care for this. So that's -1.
That is a -1. Now, would you like to defend a fate point to re-roll, invoke an aspect, or like add a +2?
So if I get it up to +1, like what is there a target number that I'm rolling for here, or how does that work?
Right now, the difficulty is probably a 2, because these people are into their dancing. They are very much on it.
So really, invoke an aspect. I would need to re-roll and hope to get at least a 0. Like there's not so much benefit to just adding +2. Is that?
That's correct. But you could also invoke 2 different aspects. Give yourself +4.
Yeah. So I think that I want to like fill in a new aspect here, like maybe something about like, I don't know how to phrase this, but like good at getting people's attention that comes from like, constantly, dealing with this large crowd of wild children at the gym.
Like
Crowd control or something. I don't know.
In attention getter, or your mother's voice, or something like that.
Yeah, I think attention getter works.
Okay.
I'll write that in, and then I'm gonna invoke that. So I'm spending 1 fate point, and I'm gonna try rolling again. Although I'm nervous about fate dice now, as everyone else obviously is. Wait, click. Why won't you? Sorry, just having some problems with the dice roller. It doesn't like me.
I need you to refresh.
All right. Sorry, just refreshing. All right, here goes.
Okay.
All right, so that gets me up to a 2.
Keeps you up 2. You will see this person's like looks at you, because this guy is like a middle-aged dad in a windbreaker, and you say boyfriend, and the guy's like, and he'll point at this giant dance floor, and people are like, he's obvious because people are kind of scooting away from him there. I think that you will also see Ashley. And there's maybe a third competitor in all of this. Let me come to Cass. Cass, you see Romy's looking around. There's a vampire around. You got Windbreaker, Spider Demon. You're in this incredibly dangerous place. What do you want to do?
I want to see what my options are for getting out before I go any further, because I can turn right back around. But
it looks like there's only one way out of here.
That's past the bouncer?
And up those stairs, up onto the top deck.
Oh, so there's no other stairway or anything like that.
Oh no, it looks like those doors have been sealed.
Oh, that's not cool.
That's a good word for it. Not cool.
Um, I kind of go, and I look around for Romy. I can see her, and I'm like, "Hey, Romy, we want to get out of here now while the getting's good."
Just looking around, like, what do you? We haven't even.
There's only
He's
one
just
way
over
out,
there.
and this is setup.
Come on, it's a spider demon. Like, it's not that smart. It didn't lure us in here for the one exit.
Yeah, but that bouncer, he's all vamped up. He's acting on orders. So there's a vampire rolling around here. And apparently hoping to set up with I don't know, a larder.
Ashley, you see two people that you know from iHunt are here, looking around. You see Romy and you see a Cass.
And I say, what the hell? And then I look at my phone again to make sure that my name is under the vampire.
Oh yeah, they've
And-
got several different names under there who said they're willing to. I mean, it's a standing bounty.
Okay. Okay. So I am going to I recognize these folks.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a beeline for them through the crowd. And when I get to them, I'm like, oh, wait a second. Are you guys here for the vampire too?
Oh God,
this
you're here
is-
for the vampire? Thank God. You need to take care of it as soon as possible because
Well,
this
what are
is
you
all
here
a setup. Spider demon.
Never you mind.
Spider demon. And I start looking through the app for the spider
I
demon.
like that you yell that out and we're all just like, whatever.
As you three are talking, I'm going to cut away to Charlie. Charlie, could I please have you roll a defend?
Yes. Should have taken that defense feature, huh?
So you can roll this with fighter.
All right. That is a +4.
+4. Okay, I'm going to roll for this vampire. Oh, so this, so 1 plus 3.
+2.
And so that is 1 plus an attack of that. So it is a tie. So you're going to get a boost forward. You're going to get a bonus on your next action. As what is it that tells you that there's something coming up behind you?
Spider demon, right? Does it
No,
have
this
wings?
is the bat that's come out of the ceiling, the giant vampire bat behind you.
All right, so this is going to be some edgelord description here. So right here I am chilling in the shadows like a little spy, and submerged in what darkness can be found in the tetanus rave, that I'm able to see like the shadows that the bat itself creates, like that movement, darkness within darkness, so to speak, that betrays its presence. And I guess I managed to like roll in the nick of time or something.
You roll forward and you look back and you will see this very large vampire bat human has dropped down and is about to move up on you. You're still back here in these crates. Now I will mention that the zone that you're in has 2 aspects you can invoke for free on your next action. Crates and barrels and obnoxious bouncer.
All right.
What do you want to do?
What is the obnoxious bouncer doing?
He's just kind of sitting there blocking people from leaving.
And the barrels, like what are they made of, or what are
You tell me.
what do they?
You tell me. It's an aspect you can invoke to use situation to your advantage here.
Mm,
Do you want to make a weapon?
Trying to figure out how one would make a weapon out of a barrel. I think
Or metal crates, anything? Yeah, whatever. What do you want to do?
I think maybe if the bat creature is coming at me,
Yeah,
throw a metal crate at it.
sure. Let's have you roll fight. And if you want to, we'll see how you do, and you can invoke crates and barrels against it.
Yeah. All right. This is another fighter roll. Am I right?
It's another fight roll, yes.
All
So
right.
I've got a 3 right now.
Ooh, that is a 4, 5, 6, 7 minus, so 6. Did I count right?
Yeah, so it's +2, and your fight is 5, right?
Four.
Or
Oh,
4?
is it 5?
Is it 4?
I don't think it's 5. It's 4.
So
I think
you got a
5.
6. So I only rolled a 3. So it's going to take 3 shifts of damage. So you will slam into this thing, and I think that crashing barrel actually will probably push the vampire out to the edge, so some of the light catches it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to cut away from you. Let's kind of go sort of now to actions and initiative. Romy, you're about a zone away right now. Your zone has crowded dance floor and did someone throw up as aspects you can invoke. You will see this crate go flying. You see this vampire come out. People in here don't even really pay much attention to it, but you will definitely see Charlie there as well. What do you want to do, Romy?
I think that Romy will like sort of look back and forth unsurely between the spider demon and the vampire, but accepts that maybe the vampire, which seems to have a plan, is the bigger problem right now. So I think what I want to do is I'm not quite sure about the geography of the space, but am I close enough to the vampire to try and kick a little pool of vomit into its eyes to create an advantage that way?
Oh yeah, I think that's a kind of a range thing. So you don't necessarily need to move into its zone.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a horrible thing. So let's have you roll that with, I think, athletics.
Right. So let's see. Athletics is +4.
We'll give him a defend. Ooh, he's only at a 3 on a defend.
So that's 4. That's a 4 total.
Now, do you want to spend the someone throw up aspect?
I mean, I think that I've rolled well enough, but it feels like it would be a waste not to invoke the vomit aspect.
So you had an edge at +1. Now, when you use that aspect, it actually makes it at +2. So what do you want to call this aspect that's on the vampire?
Oh, like blind and disgusted. Is that?
Yes. So the
that work?
vampire has the blind and disgusted, and there are 2 free invokes that people can
Nice.
use to against them. Who goes after you? We still have in this sort of exchange. We've got Ashley and we've got Cass.
I think Cass goes next.
Cass, what do you do?
Isn't that the kind of vampire that you pretty much need to finish it with a wooden stake through the heart kind of thing?
It's a classic.
Oh God. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the slide over there to get that stake ready. Just because I'm pretty sure we're gonna need it. So if we're gonna get out of here.
So are you crafting a stake here, or
yes, I'm gonna make a stake.
Okay, that is a create advantage.
Okay.
How are you doing this? Where is there a natural piece of wood in this horrible place?
I think there's a ton of like wooden crates and stuff, but those are like kind of the worst way to go because they're all splintery and they're made out of that kind of, I mean, I'm sure they would hurt the vampire, but they'll also hurt you. Fortunately though, when they set up for this dance party thing, they have like these, like they tried to make it look festive. So they did kind of those rental tents, but they did the cheapest ones they could find. And they've got a bunch of like tent poles with the sort of wooden dowels. And I pretty much just take one of those and crack it over my knees so that I get a good splintery sharp end. And it's about yay big. And so I'm doing like about 2.5 foot.
So it feels like fighter or athlete to me.
Okay, I'll take athlete. I think is a little bit better. So I am willing to do it. Okay. Because I will always game this horrible, cruel system if I can. Let's see. Oh no, they're the exact same. So it's a +1.
Difficulty is a 2.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
In this environment, yes.
All right. So I have a 1. Let's see here though. I probably have some bits I can summon. Hold on. Let's see here. Well, let's see here. I can eliminate situational aspects. And I could, and I can use the aspect, well, no one is using it.
Yep.
So I've grabbed that, right?
Spend a fate point, and
Okay.
you have essentially you create a stake that you can use. It's in the fiction. We've established that, and you've got an invoke on it.
All right.
Okay. Ashley, what do you do?
And wait, when I do that, is it that when I do that, other people, I actually make another invoke of it, and other people can use the second invoke?
Okay.
So I actually made 2 stakes when I did that.
Okay. I'll put two check boxes by it.
Okay.
Ashley, what do you want to do? There's that horrible all-state guy who's like maybe trying to try and leave, and there's this vampire bag.
So I'm here for the vampire, and I think we established before that when I took the contract, I got geared up.
Yeah.
So I think that at this point, Ashley reaches into her jacket and pulls out a pine stake and says, "Mine, mine, 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 mine," as she's running toward the vampire because she wants people to know that this is her bounty.
Absolutely. So this requires moving from one zone to another in a crowded environment.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a simple athletics check, difficulty 1, to get over there.
Okay, and I have athletics at 0. So here we go. I'm going to try to reroll. Okay. So 0. And you said it was a 1?
Difficulty is a 1.
So I'm going to invoke social media star with a short fuse, if I
Okay.
may.
Nice.
To use just pure anger because someone's about to steal her bounty, her $1,000 bounty, which will cover her the payment on her Celica this month. So she pushes her way through the crowd until she's there by the vampire.
Okay. So you get over there, the vampire is there. It's about 7 feet tall. You didn't have a really good perspective on it when you were where you were, but it's you, and you will see Charlie by you, and the vampire will look at the two of you, and it will swing out one of its wings, and let's see, I think it is going to do its buffet attack here. So the two of you can defend with fight or athletics against this attack. It is doing on both of you.
Have we met Ashley and I?
I was thinking, Matthew, that it would be cool if maybe you had done some deliveries on your motorbike at the set of Shadow Glen.
Yeah.
And actually you got Ash's attention quite a bit. So she is kind of into you on some level, if that's acceptable to you. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's
So
cool.
actually, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, because I see the crazy, like, you have a stake in your hand, right? And you're going mine, right?
Yep.
And but you've also, I think you've also got your smartphone in the other hand.
Yeah, I think I do.
Yeah, and so you've always like struck me as like kind of a, you know, don't judge a book by its cover, but of course, ditzy or whatever. And so her first instinct, Charlie's first instinct, is to help you defend by basically jumping at you and being all like, "You stupid!"
I love that.
Yeah.
So this thing raises its pinion wings and swings these at the two of you.
Yeah.
You both will roll defend. The value of the attack is a 5.
All right.
Yikes. Do we defend with a skill?
With fight or with athlete?
Okay.
I am rolling. That's a 4, 5. Yeah, it's a 5.
So you will get a tie, which means you'll get a boost forward, which means you get a bonus on your next action, Matthew.
Already had a boost.
Oh, so actually, yeah, it'll be a full success then.
Right.
You won't take any damage. And what did you get, Ashley?
A
Got a
7.
lot.
Sorry, a what?
A 7.
Holy moly! What?
Look at all those pluses. I didn't know those had pluses on every one of the die.
It swings it out, and the two of you dance back from this thing, and it screeches. Mind you, it doesn't go over the techno ska reggae thing at all, but it does and swings out.
Mark,
So
in the words of Dan, you better go to Vegas.
So Ashley, we're going to start the next round. You went last on last round, so tell me who goes first on this round.
I'm sorry. I'm still not used to answering to Ashley.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. I think let's go to Romy.
Romy, you see whoosh, rushes over there to get at the vampire. You see another hunter there. The vampire swings and they walk away from it. What do you want to do? You see the spider demon like turning around and is like getting an alert now.
I'm not going to get into a 4-way fight with like 3 other hunters to try and take down this vampire. They seem to have that well in hand. I'm going to try and sneak through the crowd a little bit and throw the spider demon, suplex him into the ground.
Okay. Do you want to do this as an attack to deal damage, or are you trying to set him up?
I think just an attack.
Okay.
Yeah, just trying to deal damage.
So that's fighter. There's still an unused aspect there on the area of the crowded dance floor. You can use that if you want to after you roll. I will pull for the spider. Ooh, spider demon did well. Spider demon has a 5.
All right, let's see. Just rolling. So that is -1 plus what I have. +3 for fighter, so that's +2.
Okay.
And I need to get that up to what, a 5.
You need to beat a 5.
All right. Well, I think I'm just gonna invoke some aspects then. So
do you want to use the free one for crowded dance floor? So
just sort of sneaking through the crowd so he doesn't see me coming. That's kind of what I'm thinking there.
Yep.
And then I'm going to also spend a fate point to invoke my frustrated Olympic hopeful aspect to like just really throw him hard.
Okay.
Uh,
So that takes you to a 6, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Need
So
another one. There's those stakes. I mean, they're meant for the vampire, but there's no reason you can't use it on the spider demon.
do you want to use one
For
of
a
those?
chokehold, because he's big.
Like, so what's the advantage? The difference is that I just get like do extra damage for each like point that I beat him by. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. Right now you're just doing one stress to him. If you invoke the stake, then you're doing 3.
Yeah, why not? If people don't mind me abusing your vampire stakes for this guy. Absolutely.
So people see you, run over, slam Windbreaker dude down, like jab him with the thing, and I think that's the point at which the Windbreaker goes. All the buttons go, pop, 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 and I think we see the legs come unfold out, and are like thinking, and I think people are screaming now. I think people are screaming. Who goes after you, Romy?
I think maybe Ashley goes next.
Ashley, you've got a big old vampire in your face. You've got another vampire hunter here who's going to cut into your score, but she's also cute.
Quick question. So when Ashley rolled, she rolled a 7. What was the target on that? Was it a 5?
Target was a 5.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so I think that
Did you want to take the edge? Because you could have invoked one of the like the crate and barrels aspect.
yeah, that's what I was thinking of. So yeah, definitely.
Okay. Yeah, we can retcon that. So right now you have taken the edge from the bad guys, which means that you get 1 free use where you can roll 3 fate dice plus a d6.
Okay.
And as long as you keep it, you can also spend fate points to do that roll.
Perfect.
So what do you want to do?
So I am going to try to get in and drive the stake into the vampire's heart.
Okay.
Classic manner. So I'm going to roll the fate dice first, 3, right?
Yep.
So minus. And then
roll your d6.
So just click on the d6 that's in the lower left-hand corner. Okay. Oh, I see. I just highlighted it. 6. So 4 plus fighter is good. So it's 7.
7. And it has a defense now of 2. So that's 5 shifts. What does that look like when you, I mean, that is a hell of a shot you just did. What does that look like?
So as she's coming in with the stake, with an overhand downward attack, she sees that Charlie has like watching now as Charlie has intervened, and she winks and says, "Hey, Charlie," and then pops it right into his chest. And it goes farther than expected. And do these vampires dustify or explode with blood everywhere?
I think there is blood coming out of it because it's not quite dead. You're like, oh yeah, I've got it, and then you realize it's still alive.
Oh, okay, that was unexpected. So yeah, I leave it in there and then step back.
Who goes after you?
It's going to definitely have to be Indy. Help.
Hey. Wow. Let's see.
Vampire,
here.
spider demon. So many choices here.
Charlie's there. So I'm like, does Charlie have a stake?
Me? Yeah.
Okay. I think I'm gonna wing the stake at Charlie and run like so that you have one already.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Okay. I'll give you a thumbs up when I see it because I didn't before, and I think I'll turn around and run to help Romy with the spider demon.
You're in the same zone, so you can make that attack on the spider demon.
All right. Let's see here. My thing is really just like she had a plan. She has a sort of chemical thing that she would like to put over its face to kind of get it all tamped down. But in the meantime, she's going to try to keep some of those legs under control. So I think she'll actually use the stake to sort of, how do you say, wrestle those down. She's horrible at this. But
Let's have you roll. Now you have the edge.
Oh.
Because of that result. You could spend a fate point to roll with the edge.
Ooh. That would give me a D6. I could really
D6
mess
plus,
up on that too.
Exactly.
All
You're
right.
losing money not doing it.
All right, I will spend a fate point because why not? All right, so I'm pulling over the 3 minus dice because they couldn't possibly betray me again, and the D6, and I'm going to roll those all together because I'm just filled with faith. I've never been betrayed by fate dice before. Okay, here we go. 5, 6. 6 plus my fighter of 1 gives
So
me
that's a 7. Are you invoking the stake?
Yeah.
So that'll be a 9. So how gushy is it?
Oh my gosh, it was ready to lay eggs. Ugh.
I imagine you come down, Romy, you've got this thing suplexed. You're like, oh yeah. And in she comes, and then and it's a wet sound, and it's a spray, and it's a screech, all sort of simultaneously, and both of you are icked and wet right now. So tell me, this is, let's get names right here. Charlie, how do you finish off this badly wounded vampire that Ashley, like, so close to finishing? How do you do that? What do you think, Charlie?
Sorry, how do I do what?
So right now, Ashley has stabbed this vampire, and you and her were both like, oh, this thing is gonna be dead, and then it's not. So how do you, what are you doing to finish this off?
I think, well, this is so wait, they were stabbed, but they're not, it's
Not quite dead. Nope.
Okay, would driving the thing in further like hurt it even more, or would that just be ineffectual?
Only one way to find out.
All right, then in that case, Charlie just sort of like runs up and sort of does a mini parkour thing, twirls around and tries to stomp directly on the stake to drive it in further with another stake in her hand and ready.
And I think you will land. I think we don't think that we need to roll. I think we see you parkour off, come down, and I think you'll hit it. And it's like somebody pushed a button and suddenly
Yes,
you've got vampire blood everywhere. Just there's probably a moment, probably happens simultaneously. So we see some of the spider goo and some of the spat. And there's this, and people are shrieking and running. No one here is free of ichor. Everyone is covered in it. And
I turn to everybody like there's a beat as everybody after everyone runs screaming and we're all just like covered in it. I go like, why don't we wear raincoats in this job again?
I think that the music has stopped. People have run. We hear the dripping of where these things hit on the ceiling. We can see that coming down. And I think that's the place we're going to stop for today.
Except that you do see me taking out all the plastic trash bags that, you know, she always takes with her on these jobs. So,
so that's where we'll stop. And we will take up with a sort of an aftermath at the Denny's after you've cleaned up to figuring out about the split of that. We'll start there for next time. Do you guys mind doing do you all mind doing a quick stars and wishes? Okay. We'll just do that real quick. Sherry, let me start with you. Stars, things you liked, wishes. This is mostly, since we're in session 1 here, things you definitely want to see coming up here.
Oh, well, you all came up with awesome characters. So what I'm really looking forward to is each of us having something that we really want to have happen dangled right in front of us. And, essentially that whole thing of that kind of, all I need to do is this thing. And then, of course, there's the eye hunting that we need to do. So maybe they're related, maybe they're not, but I'm looking forward to this because you guys all have the best goals. So looking great. I love this setup. I'm so glad everyone can fight. I'm used to us all being terrible at it. So
There was a little comedy of errors last time we played.
yeah, it could have been.
Okay.
I mean, every time we had to take a monster down, it was a slow, laborious process. Like stacking couches on them almost. It was very bad.
I mean, the question is, does the Yakety Sax theme play over your game?
There were moments.
There were moments.
The incident at the beach, comes to mind. But Matthew, stars, wishes?
Well, again, not to I love the characters. Like, I'm very, very impressed with how cool and great the concepts are, and how they, even though we all came up with different things, I feel like the future for them and how they're going to mesh together, it's going to be super interesting. But I don't think I could have expected any less, given that I'm a big fan of every player here in the room. So
Anything you want to say wishes wise, like that you definitely want to see?
Wishes. All right, wishes. I definitely want to have all that drama, like, amped up for every character. Let's see. And I definitely need to figure out how to play this game, because I think I played Fate once 10 years ago, and I realized so much PBTA has just deprogrammed it out of me that I don't know what to do anymore.
Yeah, when you have a game that has hit points and the fights are a little more back and forth exchangey, it can get wild.
And lastly, as is obvious by the way I set up my character, and also the way I'm looking at other people's characters, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing the monsters like get integrated with the personal struggles of the characters. It's sort of like when you're it's the Spider-Man stuff, right? It's when your monster fighting stuff collides with your personal life that things get really heated and interesting.
Perfect. Shane, stars, wishes?
I think mine are going to be pretty similar to what other people have said. I had a really good time, and I love all the characters. I'm very excited for this game. I really like, this is like both a star, I think, to the system, but also to you for like the way you set things up. I really like the way that the sort of situational aspects fit together to let you like play with the environment. I thought that was really cool, especially did someone throw up, just a completely irresistible aspect to me to play with. And yeah, wishes, like definitely like figuring out the system a bit more, but obviously that will come. But especially seeing some of the scenes where people's like non-monster hunting lives or the other sort of dramas that people have set up come into play more.
Awesome. And Mark.
So stars, I think the two things that stand out to me are when presented with a pool of vomit on the floor, the first instinct there is to kick it. And then, sorry, that was really loud. And then the suplex, mixing in the wrestling background with the fighting, that really cracked me up. That was awesome. Wishes, I could probably go on forever. Fate was the game that I first saw that was really outside of the realm of what I had played before in traditional games. And so I was, I mean, I know it's still traditional in a lot of senses, but I was very excited by it, and I never got it to the table and never played it until this very night. So it's
Oh,
awesome.
good.
Thank you for this opportunity. It's fantastic. This table is fantastic. You guys are all super generous and really creative. It's awesome. I am also looking forward to being of a flirty character, which I've never done before. And, you know, if people do not want me to be flirty with your characters, just let me know and I will back off. But I am looking forward to having some fun with that going down the line too.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you all so much. Again, if you have a chance this week, if you want to look through, see if there's some stunts that now appeal to you, or if there's things you want to swap out that you're like, oh, this maybe not work for how I'm seeing this, feel free to do that. And we'll check in with that at the beginning of next session. I'm going to stop the recording.